We're live. We're back on. Yes. All right. First, live on DeadzoneTV. Big shout out to Coach, Family of Gamers 777. Check them out. Pretty awesome if you like mountain games. Dead Zone. They play Legion, Star Wars, a bunch of other games. I'm not yet ready to play games. I'm not that interesting like those guys, so I'm gonna just do some painting. And well, Coach is probably now jumping in. How you doing, Coach? All right, that looks like it's working. At least we get this tested and working to get started. Of course, I got a little bit of clogging here. Play, fix this up. All right, we got Igelkott. Yoo-hoo. So, what are you guys doing tonight? Figure I'm gonna do a little bit of a priming, and if I can get maybe 10, 20 bases tonight, hey, even better. This is 100 bases. There's a boatload to do. We'll try to do some of them, and I'll show you how essentially I go through painting those. So you know what? Let me show you what we got here. So they're all different, and I figure it was time to base my Dead Zone minis. And you probably don't know this, but I started Dead Zone 5 years ago, and I figure I thought that was a great idea. Hey, let's make all the minis magnetized individually with no bases. Maybe I'll swap one day base one with a base two, swap the color. Maybe one day I will want to have them transparent or clear bases. And I never made bases for my guys, except maybe 20, 30 bases. But I figured to play the game, it was such a pain in the butt to just magnetize a guy onto the base. The process was relatively easy. It's just every time I will magnetize it. Let me go get some. All right, so I got here a bunch of minis. We'll get to those. But essentially, what I've done with those guys is magnetized every single mini individually and placed one or two magnets to get them standing. I mean, sounds like a great idea. Hey, put the guy here and you're ready to play. Awesome, right? Um, but the problem I was facing with those guys is I want to play a game quickly. I'll put them down here, and then I want to grab the guy. Oh crap! Now I have to grab the guy, and the base is here. And it sounds like it's okay. It's no big deal when it's just one base, one guy. But then when I have the tree full of minis, then it's just a nightmare. So I decide to go the gaming way, which is hey, let's glue them on the base. So this is this guy, the DOG, the dog drone or bot, whatever. I think Boston Dynamics is the company around here that's making those things. So they're real. They're not fake. So I need more bases for the enforcers. And hey, let's show the man here. There you go. Got a Blaine full of bling. Right. So this one will probably be mounted on. I don't know. What do you think? Is it like a 32? I think 32 might be better than the 40. But in Dead Zone, we don't play 32. I think it just goes from 25 to 40 and 40 to 60. And coach can tell us. Yeah, I know, coach. I would have been crazy if I keep those minis just like that all the time. And I did, I guess, for 5 years. Or, I kept adding them. And you've seen the trade when we did the tourney in Hadley. That was pretty cool. First time I actually played Dread Bull with the real rules. This was actually an tournament with coach. So here we have the just decided then to remove them from the base, but some are actually based. The metal ones, I figure that's just, it has to be. So guys, I'll try to do this a little bit more often, because honestly I'm maybe every night, if not every other night, try to be down here, paint, improve my painting, and if I can pass on how I do things to you and vice versa, you know, it's always fun. I'm not doing it as a professional, but watching a lot of YouTube video about how to paint. This one was pretty cool, and I liked it so much that I bought actually another one. So we'll repaint it or paint another one. There you go. Now we have lanes a little bit saturated with the light, so let me back it out a little bit. Here I go. All right. Very red. I like this bike. Really like it. Very sci-fi. So not all of my miniatures actually super well painted. It depends on the mini, and maybe I'll come back, a month later, 2 months later. This one I think I painted 3 years ago, and I may no effort to actually continue with it. And just, you know what, I haven't played the revs yet, and once I do, I think I'll just go back at it and add more details. But that's fine. Now this mini, you probably don't know it. Um, so, coach, you're saying 40? Okay, 40 millimeters. All right, for the Blaine bike. And this mini is actually probably about 25, if not 30 years old. And I painted it maybe a couple months ago. Just, I'm going to start adding up a little bit more characters and races to Dead Zone. All right, this guy's a beast. It's so heavy. It's ridiculous. I really love this guy when I painted it. Wait, try to bring it closer. I will adjust. Let me figure it out. I'll adjust the autofocus actually for this. There you go. There you go. So it's well painted. I mean, it's not professional at all. I don't intend to be one, but I try to do the best I can, the fastest I can. I think this one is actually no metal. I mean, if you think it's metal, it's just gray, and a special wash that I made. I made my own wash, and simple recipe, and it's just black ink, water, some medium, and fluid. I mean, the proportion is kind of like the secret recipe, but so all the bases will actually be changed in color, and they'll all be gray. I'm going with just basic tones of colors here. There you go. All right, this one is super small, super small. So we're gonna go actually smaller and smaller. It's kind of like awkward because my webcam is backwards. This is actually my left side, and this is the right side. So I don't know if you see the right as the right and the left as the left, but on my screen it shows the opposite. All right, where are the Z's? Think. There you go. Like, talk about small. These are crazy tiniest dudes you can get in Dead Zone. They're weaklings, but impossible to see. Next to Blaine. So yes, they were all magnetized like this. They all will stand actually. I put them on a tray like I did earlier. Right, put another tray. I'll put the Z on it. Right, make some space here. There you go. Now the Z is magnetized. Okay, let's paint. Enough talking. We got a little bit of painting to do. I'll try to show you guys what we're gonna do. My airbrush is maybe a little bit clogged, but hey, you know what? I've been lazy cleaning it. All right. So we're gonna start taking a base randomly and just start painting it. So we'll take this one as an example, and let's readjust the focus so you guys can see. Shoop. There you go. Now you can see. All right. So once all the bases are pretty much like this, I try to set them up nicely lined up. And after the black, I'll be going over some gray. There you go. I think I used up all my black here. And I used the dollar. I think it's $1. You can get at Home Depot that dollar can. I think it's watching a video from Tyler. He Dread Paths Done. Check him out on YouTube. I'll put the links below. Earlier I talked about. I don't think I shout out yet. Coach Family of Gamers 777. Check him out. All right, he's a man. If you want to know about Dead Zone, watch his channel. This is how I learned essentially how to play, and he's a great dude. Great bro. All right, so after the black, let's get going. I'm gonna use the Surface Primer, and this is just a gray one. And I don't wash my my pot. But I'll give it a little stir. There you go. Make sure the pressure is good. All right. So when you get like speckling, okay, I'm gonna try to see if I can show you guys. When I hairbrush, sometimes it gets speckling. If there's speckling, you can use this. Okay, I do a mix of 1 to 20 water flow improver. So 1 improver, 22 water, and just squirt it inside, dilute it a little bit, do the gumbo like the Kenny says on Next Level Painting, and will be all set. So for this, I'm going to be I'm pushing the needle all the way in. Let's get started. So I will typically try to do just on the front side. I want to turn this guy like this. So, ooh, look at that. Just broke it. That was not crazy glue enough. I saw crazy glue actually. Okay. So I like to have essentially the brightest on the front and keep the dark in the back. So this one broke. That's okay. We'll keep it like that. Yep. So today was a crazy day for me, but I'm glad when I'm painting again. Oh yeah, that's the thing is, if you shake too much, like I do, like a goofball, you'll spill. So give it a wipe. And they're bases, so nothing goes wrong there. It's a great way to actually practice your airbrushing if you're new to airbrushing. So there you go. So I hit the I airbrush essentially with an angle. I'm not completely flat to it. See, my airbrush is like this. I'm gonna back out actually a little bit so you guys can see the angle that I give on this thing. Okay, come on, stay with me. There you go. Actually perforated this. Oh my god. I'm gonna put a cap on this thing before I spill too much. All right, capped it. Now you're not spilling on me anymore. All right, go. Paint fast. So I focus on one side. Let the airbrush do its thing and don't spend quite a bit of time on it each base. We'll get back to it. We'll just do another pass with a brighter color. Now I like this base. Hey, look at this. This is just full of dead zone stuff with a hammer. So today I watch Coach doing his thing on YouTube, and it was pretty cool. He showed those metal trees, how to make them. I think John Jack is starting to make his own videos now with Cripple Fox. So we're getting a little bit more vibe on the net about this whole Mantic painting community. It used to be heavily focused, I think, on the on Facebook and groups like the Mantic forums. And it's pretty cool that we're starting to shift towards more interaction and live or record it, see how everybody's doing. So you can individually take them or be lazy like I am, which is taking it from far and just shooting. So I have my needle retracted for this. There you go. You can see it's actually not coming out at all. It's really pushed in. If I want to push it out, here it's out. Just gotta see it. Here it's out, but I push it in like this. I don't know if you see the difference. So it's just to the edge, and just to make sure that the Sotar is such a tiny needle, but if you use a chrome, you probably can get away with not having the needle so much in using a 0.4. Here I'm using a 0.2, a very fine, but I'm so used to the Sotar. Now you're gonna laugh at me, but I'm still using one of those bulky, heavy-duty compressor from I think it's a Husky from Home Depot. So I don't have a fancy airbrush. So what I do before my session is fill up the tank in the basement, close the doors, and get out of there. And let it run for 15 minutes, fill up the tank, and then I shut it off. And I do my session. There you go. I think we're out here. And do my session of painting, and maybe we'll refill it once or twice. But that's it. So I do need eventually, I think, to get into buying a real airbrush compressor. So if you guys know a good airbrush compressor, I'm looking right now. I've seen one on Arbor Freight, I think for $120. There's some Master Airbrush on compressor. Oh geez, what's going on here? I got some clogging. Okay, so clogging happens, and especially if this thing has not been cleaned in a while. So when it clogs, take a big bucket. Check this out. The big bucket. Just like this. Alright guys, move you. Paper towel. Just burn the thing. So usually I have actually the bucket under the table. I have the buckets under the table. So here, just to show you, I just put it on top. And, give it enough of a rinse. So if you guys are interested into learning airbrush, I know Coach uses airbrush quite a bit. And what you want to do is back bubble it. So pinch in the front, make it bubble. Get the gunk out of there. And I try to take care of my hairbrush. So after each session, definitely wash it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to spend more time cleaning it up afterwards. So usually I just can do a couple seatings, but we're at the point where this guy needs to be cleaned. So there you go. We're back. Okay, it looks like the Sotar is clogged, so I'm gonna swap. Okay, airbrush. Maybe you guys want me to talk about airbrush, but I'll just paint a little bit. Maybe another day we'll do the airbrush. This one is a chrome. Chrome and Sotar is essentially a great brand, same brand Badger, but great models. We have the Velocity right here. So I will tell you, I use 95% of the time the Sotar, but when it starts clogging, I will flip back to a chrome. But I don't know if it's my chrome, but I have problem with this guy. I cannot get it to work right. So we'll try now. So I got something worth it. Just get your disconnect. You can connect and disconnect quickly. There you go. Yes. Pressure. Nice and clean. All right. So let's get the Sotar out. Yes, Coach. Now I'm going to dilute this guy. Same recipe. All right. So I'm really slow. It's been like 25 minutes I've been talking and I've done nothing. Oh my. All right, great. This is coming out now. So use your hand or use a towel, kind of get a sense of how much It's coming out. All right, let's go. Do we do a second pass on these things? I feel like the just like that. Same angle. I haven't moved the base. So typically when I airbrush, I don't just push, 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 push because that will create speckles. I try to keep a constant pressure and then trigger back, trigger back, trigger back as needed. Not too much. I can tell that this chrome is going right now, so we're gonna use it. Let's go. Same angle. I'm gonna do too shabby about it. Let's put the cap just so I can look cool with it. I mean, look at this. It's pretty awesome. All right, so we are good. I need my model. I need to get what we're gonna get to. One sec, I'll be right back. All right. So for these, I'm actually going to use mainly black and white and gray, and some space wolf. So I'm gonna I'm using this as a reference to get the same tone of gray, and you can use if you want a prefab gray, which is always the same. But I liked a little bit of variation in my gray. Um, Still staying a little bit close to the range. Um, so this guy is really good. This one is really good. I'm gonna use those as gauging the brightness we want to go to. And actually, without the big ones, I'm gonna show the. Here you go. So we have actually finished. I have here some finished bases. So there you go. We want to try to get to something like this. There you go. These are completely magnetized. Very old versions. Too brown, maybe for me. I might repaint those one day. This is what I want. Kind of color. So we'll put them aside and bring the other guys to the same standard. So if you look right now, not yet there, but we will. Pretty quickly, actually. Let's go. So I'm not putting music because I don't want any copyright blah blah and all the problems that can come with it. I actually tried to do. I tested just like half an hour ago. Do a live with some Amazon Prime music. There's like about millions of songs that you can actually listen for free. I didn't know that until tonight, and I'm a little bit stuffed up because I'm actually I have a cold. There you go. But when I played it, YouTube actually flagged it immediately. I mean, it was amazing. So it recognized a song that was something from the 80s. All right. So because I dilute the paint with the fluid, even if I were to do too much of it, it will dry out. And and mute itself. All right, after I do this gray, I'm gonna use a little bit more. I'll take one of these guys and come in the front here. I'm gonna paint this guy essentially right now, so you can see all the steps in one mini. Not bad. A lot of bases, so we're gonna focus on those big guys right here. So I try to hit it from the top section, aiming down. You see the angle? Do the same thing here. I turn it. Do the same thing here. That's it. Stop right there. Okay. No more than that. At least that's how I do it. It's up to you, the way you want to do it. Right there. Done. So essentially go through those paths of those spatial bases and then hit the front of the base right here. A little bit more brightness at an angle. Now we're actually starting to brighten things, okay? When I see bases like this, I like to take them at an angle and just highlight the side. Some of them are really glued down. Okay, so I'll take this one as an example. After I do the gray, I don't really push to put the white here. I'm gonna be using Space Wolf. So Space Wolf or Space Gray, or is that this one? Sorry, it's Wolf Gray. Close enough. All right. So I rinse the color. Make sure there's nothing in there. A little bit is fine. Check it. Whoa, shoot. Almost screwed up. That happens sometimes. Wrong bottle. I poured a little too much, but that's okay. We'll use it. Now, if it was my Sultar, I'll be more precise, I think, with my airbrushing, but that's okay. I'm going to use some Space Wolf and actually give it a bluish tinge on this. Just like that. You can see it pop out on the tray, right? And let me know, guys, if you don't see well, because this is kind of like the first live. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making things up here. And I'm not as interesting maybe as Coach for sure. Tell a story. He's a natural, I'm not. So I'm just gonna go over some painting, and hopefully you get something out of it. Right there. So you can see it's relatively simple to just get to this face. And there. So I'm going to use a Space Wolf on those bases, mainly on all those big debris. And the rest is going to stay gray, and you'll see why. Actually, this, if possible. Oops. This one is a stubborn one. There you go. Come out of there. So the cork and the mantic scenery are getting a treatment of that wolf gray. You can see a different color, right? It's maybe not on the camera. It's more blue, right? It's definitely has like the blue inch, right? Kind of like what we're trying to do here. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Quick highlight. I like this one too. It's just a backpack of a GCPS that I glue it on the wall. Someone once probably in a rush to get out of there really quickly and left the backpack. If someone knows what this is, I have no idea. It's like a magnetic or electrostatic device. It's not a Unkra. I think there's something called a Hunkra. With an H, you can say it. All right, so we're getting close to the next step. So I can do the same thing as I did before, which is doing things in the past. Like this. That works too. You don't have to leave them up, but you know what I'll do is definitely lift up those guys because you want to get them and get the highlight in the right direction. And they're going to be black in the back if you know they stay on the tree like that. So and this one has a gun right there. So we'll have to paint the detail eventually. Not tonight. I think this is something we're going to do over the next few days. Tackle each base one at a time and try to have fun with it. All right, did I forget any? All right, looks cool. Okay, so this, I'm not too sure which color I'm going to be painting this flooring. So if you have a suggestion about what type of flooring this might be, it's a bunch of bits that I glued together. And for this, I actually used, where is it? So for this type of bases, you can see there's a line here. I use a goofy card. You get a goofy card and you cut it and you get a base. So go with a goofy card. That works. And essentially, the stuff I was hanging around, I like this texture thing. All right, I'm talking and not painting, so there you go. This guy here. All right, so we're really close. Now you can see this is a little bit more brown in the tones. This one is quite dark, kind of like fits with the other ones, right? It's pretty close. So this one is actually done. This one brown. So the next step I'm going to be using, so I'm going to clean this up. I think we've done all the all the Space Wolf. Maybe this one here. There we go. There you go. And this one. So the longest part is really not the airbrushing. I mean, we've been airbrushing for 25 minutes, half an hour. It's building. The building probably took me about, I don't know, a week to assemble and glue each base. So that is a time-consuming part. I want to say a week is really just an hour here and there. So overall, maybe 5-6 hours. If you have a day, you can do it. Maybe you can do it. Maybe next time I can do it faster. So that's what I'm gonna try to do: is paint more bases, make bases, and get them done faster and faster and better and better. All right. So once this is done, I'm gonna move to the next color. I'm gonna start to take the M Pro palette. So did this with maybe a couple dollar container. This is all dry, so just squirt some water. And yes, this is awesome. You can get this on eBay for very cheap. I definitely recommend one. It took me years to buy one, and now I just can't do it without it. Right. Completely homemade. So this is this stuff. I actually found it at the dollar store. So if you go to the dollar store, this is the brand, and you got the dollar. You got a boatload of them. Look at that. So what I did is essentially I cut them in pieces, made a bunch of them, and made a bunch of parchment paper. So I made my own palette. All right, so it does not roll. Sometimes you gotta hold it. M Pro. Sometimes I don't even bother to put water into it. I just use it as a simple palette. So this is the Agraxor shade I was telling you guys on the videos. You know what? We're gonna be liberal about it. Definitely put more. Now you want a good brush. So these are dry brush. I'm gonna use this later. And let's see which one. I want a quick brush. All right, so I'm gonna try with this one. I'm improvising. I'm taking this brush and put a bunch of paint and water, like my gumbo. So what I can do most of the time is before I apply this coat, I will apply a coat of varnish. So do I do it? Do I don't do it? I'm almost tempted to just skip this part and see what happened. I will actually need a much smaller brush for some areas. So we're gonna start brushing here and there with the big one. And then some of them will want to go with a smaller brush. I'm trying to do this with speed and result. Cool, take my time on each base. I try to do. But if you go with like a tiny brush like this, if I were to use this, okay, I'll be taking ages to just apply the color and starting to figure out where exactly. I think this is overkill. There's a lot of people who do this. They'll take like this tiny brush to try to get their results down. But realistically, if you want to play the game, and get quantity, you cannot just do that. I mean, I struggle to just get my my plastic all painted from like 5 years ago. So it's time to move on and get going and try to get results the best we can. Just like that. All right. So now we're gonna take the medium-sized brush, put back a little bit more Vagrax here. All right. Now I'm gonna be picking a little bit more where we're gonna be putting it. So yes, I'll be more detailed on this one. Just like so. You can see I'm putting a boatload of paint and water here on this thing. And there you go. Now it goes in the recess. And the reason is I wanted brown, but retain that gray. So if I were to put this with too much brown like this, I'll just pull it. I'll just come with the finger, just give it a wipe, and get back to the gray. Right? This one looks pretty good. Another one here. So of course I have paint all over my gloves, but it's pretty dry right now, so I might actually put a little bit of brown here. You know what? Let me change those gloves. They're too much. Don't want to screw up the gray that I did on the wall, so I'm changing those gloves before I screw it up. And again, if it's screwed up, it's still okay. I mean, it's just, geez, those gloves. I need to get like bigger gloves than this. This is ridiculous. I think they are medium, but I don't have giant hands. But apparently, I need bigger than that. I'm gonna be putting some blue gloves. All right, I'm back, and this time with my blue gloves. So much more comfortable than the black ones. The reason is the black ones are medium, and honestly, it's almost a kid size. So I have a little too much here. I'm gonna dabble and remove the excess here. There you go. That's it. Okay, good. Okay, this time I'm gonna use a little bit more concentrated for my second pass. That's not the brush I want. Right. And I'm gonna be using again. It's about layering. It's multiple coat of wash. Here there's no wash actually on this one. You got a little bit, but not really enough. I'm gonna hit the rocks. Nice layer. put a little bit of water on one side here. And just pull it and stretch it. Just like that. One done. Go to the next one. That's it. So that's pretty much the process. And once the Grax is done, I'm going to be moving on pretty soon at the next step. I think we're getting really close. I'm getting excited because now I'm going to be able to mount some bases, mount some minis on those bases, and make them stand out. All right. So it's very subtle. I mean, it's going to be there. There's brown. It's maybe hard to pick up on the webcam. It's very subtle on this one. Some will be more than others. Like this one is definitely more brown. I'm going to be applying another coat here and there. There you go. Okay. Let me push this straight. There we go. Okay, getting there. Okay, and this space is actually interesting. I changed how I painted it a little bit. You can see actually I need to put a black wash here. We'll do that later. I use a little bit of breaks here. So I'll probably be using those on the Asterians. Because if you notice, the black talent has bricks on his base already, so that just add up to the scheme. Gonna be taking essentially all my dead zone miniatures with this gray tone, but they will have some minis will have some accents of color. For example, the Viermine will have some green on the base versus the Asterians will have that brick. The Forge Fathers will have some mines. All right, so just to show you, this is what I'm trying to get to. This is the black talent. And I think if I find that base again, it's like almost impossible to find things now. Can look about maybe carving or making more space right there, something like this. Try to keep it just as much as possible into the base though. You can see the bricks kind of like extend right there, which is pretty cool. Again, I just didn't build each base for each mini, but trying to plan to have a little bit of room on each base, so a mini can be mounted on it, not overstacking too much. Okay, boy, I lost my brush now. Where is it? Right there. There you go. All right, so I think I'm done with this color. I need to move on now to the next vase. We're getting really close. You see, this is the model, and this is the original, the one which we're painting right now. Well, two things left to do. One, dry brush. Let's do this. So some people like to dry brush and do the wash after. Um, it depends. I do that sometimes to smooth out a miniature. But in this example, I'm gonna be using actually a very cheap Walmart brand. Okay, um, it is a chalky color, but I find it that it works the best when I dry brush. I try to do dry brush with this white, does not work as well. This time it's so diluted. It takes forever to kind of like get the. It's very bright though. Um, and the other white that I use is this one, which is super white. So those two is mainly for airbrushing, and this white here is really I use it for dry brushing. So let's see. Put a blob here. Be deliberate about it. And actually, I'm not gonna use this brush. It's a little too stiff. All right, too stiff, so I'm gonna wash it. I'm gonna be using a soft brush. Okay, this is what you want on a brush. It's able to bend like this. Um, versus the one I just took right there. It's amethyst. I think I found this one at AC Moore. I think it's a good dry brush, but for this effect, it's really too stiff. So we're gonna skip on this. I like this one. This one says, well, China. So probably Walmart kid brush, perfect for dry brushing. So I put a bunch of whites on that. Kind of like use my hand, figure out how much I just put in, wipe it all off, and just take a base. Some bases are glued on it like crazy. See if we can get that. There you go. Dry brushing. So this is the light area and this is the dark area. What I do is I come from the dark and I strike it down. I know it's counterintuitive. You think that because if it's white, it should go this direction, but essentially I engage a high contrast. This is the darker zone. Essentially, I just highlight, and this one has really no brown on it. It's just been very quickly airbrushed. But I go against where the lightness is essentially. So that's the way I do it. I came up with it recently and just like the effects. So however way you want to do it, there's no wrong or right way to do it. So I'm gonna go through some bases here, and I'm gonna try to catch the edge. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit for you because this is an important part. Right, and there. Okay. So I messed it up a little bit here, but trying to catch the edge and always go the same direction on this. Like you don't want to do this and make some streaks. Kind of like trying to brush it, be gentle about it. And if I want to give a little bit more resistance, I'll turn this sideways like this, and then I have a better control of where really I'm gonna deposit this thing, so I can make some light streaks if I want. Yeah, I'm actually up and down and applying both directions because I really want an effect of light. Right there. That's it. That's simple. So let's compare to one that was not done. Okay, so it's subtle, but it's there. Okay, and not a lot of time spent on this, right? I'll just put a little bit of paint, I brush it, and then you go at it. Just like that. And get back to the other one. That's it. So for these guys, take it from top to bottom and trying to do the hammer. We'll get back to the hammer, I think, with some mithril. There you go. I think I can see now. The dry brush actually brings out the texture of this wall here. All right. Might be a very, very boring video, guys. So apologies if it is. It is right now just the basing, because I want this done for an army, for all the Dead Zone minis. But eventually I'll use the channel to get into much more detailed work. I'll actually do it maybe if I get into the brush with death, but I don't know if I will do it this year. Just priorities might be shifted. All right. So once this is done, we'll take this guy here. What I like to do is the last step. And for this, I'm going to take out the pigments. All right. So the pigment that I use is called natural umber. So we'll get essentially our model right there. And if you look at the model, there's just a little dab right there and there. That's all it is. A little bit of dab. Just give it a little bit of effect. Let's bring it back to the table. So I'm not a pro in terms of how I apply my pigment. I just essentially get a little bit of water. Normally what you want to do is apply this pigment binder from Valero. And wherever you set it, that's where the pigment will get mixed. But I find myself of using actually water most of the time. So let's take a good base. This one, I like that. I'll just put a little bit here. And now blow on it. That's pretty much all it is. We'll use some dabs here and there. So I'll close this. Actually, I'll show you with water. It just works the same. It just gets mixed up and becomes a little bit more like a paint. I'll take this, take my wet palette, and I'll come and just start kind of like dabble. Give it a dabble here and there. And it's okay if it's not precise, because it's just a variation of tone. Once the mini is going to be on it, it's going to be hard to actually perceive the if you did it as a big application or super detailed, because really the emphasis is on the mini. It's a gray base, very neutral, and intended not to be actually be the focal point. It will complement the mini, but again, we make those bases for gaming, and well, we'll give it a little bit more attention because it's custom each one, right? So I might actually make once in a while my video in speaking in French, which is my first language. But I'm trying to get away with at least doing those videos, guys, because we speak English all the time. All right, so randomize essentially, because when you have this mini base, it's actually pretty cool because you're not going to try to put it perfect wherever you put it. Kind of like be totally random, right? So now you're starting to see a little bit more of that brown is coming up. Choose where to put this thing. Right here. Okay. How does it look so far? What are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're painting or playing, watching a movie. I'm probably gonna give another 10 minutes on this stream and then get back to my daughter who is sick. So I'm gonna be spending probably my night keeping an eye on her. The poor girl is not feeling good. Probably gastritis. Hopefully that's what it is. Nothing worse. All right, so if you ask me where she is right now, she is sleeping. So I'm not gonna bug her upstairs. Let her sleep. So here I'm gonna be using. Let's see. Is there seal paint on this thing? Oh my gosh. Okay, when there's no more gun gray. Okay, this is a sign that I've been using this guy a lot. It's really the end of it. All right, regimen brush. And what you do with this gun gray is you get to paint essentially the those rods here. Okay. And I want to show you what I do with this. Okay, it's very different than what we've done so far, and it's pretty cool. So there's gray here. We're using gray on this. Gun gray, silver, just like that. It's all about speed on this guy, and it's trying to be precise. Okay, I already painted this guy, so could have picked. All right, there you go. You see, it was not fully painted here, but it's okay because now I'm painting it. And again, it's a base, and once we're gonna do a dark wash over this, we won't be able to tell the difference. It was painted 2 or 3 times prior, or just that one time, right? So these are actually dead zone proofs. Okay, I'll use as a tubing. Man, I'm so excited about this bases here. Starting to take shape. I mean, if we do the math, 100 base will us done in. We won't be completely done, I think, today, but we've done a big chunk of it. So here I'm just painting this little thing here. That's it, just that. Not painting the rest. We did a good job with the airbrush. We're not going to screw it up. We'll just leave it. Cool getaway if you want to just not even bother. But I'm going to bother. I'm just going to add up a little bit more detail on this guy. You'll see why. And yeah, I think eventually what I want to do with those bases is make more. Maybe sell a few on eBay. Or maybe on a store that I might build in the future. But no intention to do to get national. What, trying to do something out of nothing, right? Be creative and constructive with what you do. And it's kind of like what I'm trying to do here. All right, so I'm going to use actually a different thing. I'm going to use teal here. This gun gray is kind of like running very low. Like I said, we're going back to this guy. Here, I might not have to use my smallest brush or get away with this. I don't know. I'll try to get away with it. With the big brush. Okay, not bad. Right here, I'm going to be using it right here. And obviously, this whole thing is going to be getting painted. Just like that. That's it. Quick. Get it done. Just like that. So it's just the base coat right now, right? So what comes after the base coat is going to be a quick wash. At the transition, right? Okay, this one is pretty cool. I didn't notice. I actually put a knife here. So we're going to remove a little bit of that and just dry brush it right here. It's not a real dry brush. It's kind of like a wet brush. That works. All right, so I think we've done most of the metal here. Did I miss? Tick. Maybe we'll put it here. This bit. This guy here. We're just gonna go on the top like that. Not. Could get away with this one right here. Right? This is our model. Let's put it out. Okay. So, next step. Gonna be using rust. I'm using this guy here. It's the oxide rust. I think this one is the non-metallic. Okay. And then I'm gonna be using the metallic one with it. So it's a Valero 69 and 80 if you were to look for it. Most of my paint is actually Model Air, Model Game Air. All right. Put a bunch of it here. If you saw where I applied it, I'm gonna move it around right here. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna rinse my brush. Just put water. There you go. I'm gonna use this guy. Small brush. I'm gonna try to get into. There you go. Transition. There. So I'm gonna apply essentially the metallic first on top of the metallic silver. Let that one dry. Go to the next one. And it's really, there you go. The angle is better here. Very subtle. You can wipe with your finger, get it quick and done. Like Coach says it, right? Coach, set it and forget it. I think that's the new thing right now. The all new. All right. So once we've done this, I'm gonna be taking actually a little bit more. Right? Use your finger. So this one was not painted. I'm gonna leave it for another day. So when I've done this, right, I take the this guy. Let me actually zoom in. There you go. Gonna apply the non-metallic on the top part. Like this. Okay. You can see there's like a big color difference because that was gunmetal, all this is silver. Kind of did it quick there, but that's fine. I'm gonna be using my homebrew wash here. Try to fix this up. A little bit of water here. There you go. Essentially what we're doing now is applying that wash inside the crevices. Right here. And that's all. Right here. There you go. Just like that. Let it sit. Don't touch it. Just don't mess with it. Come back later. Use your finger, wipe it, and now you got like a nice gradient, right? So I did this, leave it, and then just come with the finger and wipe it. Right. I don't know. This I can't do it. Quickly done. Okay. Remember the knife? I'm gonna come back with it. Done. I love this wash because it just stays in the recess. It's not like non-oil. I feel like it's so popular, but I hate it. I can't get to use non-oil now that I'm using this because it's so much work with non-oil. I feel like you have to apply 2-3 coats. So this is just one coat and I'm done. All right. And you can use black to contrast, but some people will recommend to mix it up with a little bit of brown. So we have a little bit of brown right here. We can just tune that black down a little bit, and there you go. Get it a little bit like that. There's no real rationale to this madness, right? Okay, so, and something I'll do once in a while is just I'll go back to some silver and just, hey, you know what? I want to spend more time on this guy, so let's just do that. So I'll do now suddenly this is silver, right? And then I'll be like, okay, well now I want to really wash it out right away. Just okay, fine, no problem. So normally you apply the color, you kind of let it dry, but by doing it wet, you suddenly get like this weird, more subtle, muted um, blending of colors. I mean, they do blend because they're both wet. You see what I mean? It's not as sharp. Again, I can go back later. All right, so now we pretty much was done with this one. Next step after this, I'm gonna be using some oxide. All right, so I'm giving you all my tricks here. Sorry, it's a long video. I think we are 10 minutes off. Okay, 10 more minutes. I keep saying that, 10 more minutes. It's already 11:30. 11:20. So now I'm gonna use my my pigment to just hit those guys from the top earlier. Right? We did the metallic, we did the non-metallic rust, and I'm gonna apply the medium just like that. Wait a little bit. Put some. Okay, remember this guy. I'm gonna just let it sit like this on top, and not touch it. All right, guys. And maybe the rust came down and just melted and went down, so you can just, use your imagination about where you want this to go. And we'll do a little bit of this one. So I didn't use the metal in here or the brown, so I'm gonna do it now. Brown it up and get back to this. So depending how you want to paint, you can paint one mini or paint a batch. If I were to paint one mini, I'll be like putting all my colors together, smearing it, painting, maybe doing more blending than waiting. Right, put too much on this guy, but that's fine. There you go. So the rust essentially dropped and things came down here. There you go. Got all gooey. Yeah, I've overdone it here, but it looks cool. Looks like maybe a rusty thing happened. Same thing on this guy. I forgot to do the metallic on it. I'll mix up the metallic with a little bit of that rust right now. And just make it pop a bit more. All right. So I don't pretend to know what I'm doing. I'm kind of like going at it based on the inspiration. But this is a recipe I just came up, and I figure, you know what? Now I know how I'm gonna paint my Dead Zone bases, and that engaged me to go back to all the minis that I painted throughout the years, and just, hey, now I can play with those bases. I'm satisfied. they won't have to change for now. For a while, they're basic enough to still be altered in the future. Still speak sci-fi. Um, they're not the resin copies, which the resin copies. I guess they have really really good details. But my problem with it was too repetitive, and didn't get that feel of really homemade touch on it. There you go. Actually, this hammer, I'm actually change the color to. I can see this hammer actually painted. I'm gonna do something with it right now. Okay, I'm gonna use this hammer and try something. Gonna. I'm improvising here, but I'm gonna be using some gold yellow. Right. I don't know where this is gonna go, but might work. And then we'll get back to it. Right there. Perfect. I'm gonna leave this like this. Let it dry for a little bit. Okay. So this is it. I think those bases are pretty much all set. Right? They got a treatment of gray, a little bit of wash, a little bit of pigment. Now they're ready to. Some of them they still require a little bit of work, but I can see this guy pretty much ready to go. Right. So what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of that green. Take the hammer. So because the yellow is not completely wet, can still work at the color a little bit more. Right. Very basic for base. Good enough. All right, guys. We are at an hour and a half, and not bad for first live. Thank you for joining me on this journey of live on YouTube, and hope you enjoy my little painting. And I guess I'll be back tomorrow for more. Have a good night, guys. Oh, you know what? Before I say goodnight, let's glue some dudes on it. I want to glue somebody on this guy. Feel I'm gonna glue Freya on it. Right? I think it looks pretty cool. Put her behind like this. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we have Freya base now. It's pretty good. All right, so once I'm done with my base, what I typically like to do is just give it a black rim with some Valero. All right. It turns out actually that green worked out pretty well with the green right here in the sleeves, blue green. We'll get a little bit more blue, I guess. But that's fine as it is. And what I might want to actually do, which I didn't do it yet, is get the dry brush one more time and dry brush this guy right here. Okay. Okay. And we'll be using probably be using on this basis um, some glorious gold. So we'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, more basing and more mounting of minis. Have a good night, Coach. See. All right, so now I'm gonna just, you know what? I'm not too happy about this. There you go. Yeah, who paints under the base, right? Nobody. I guess today I feel like I need to paint under. So that's it. I'm gonna Freya done. Might need a little bit more, maybe color on this guy here. Let's finish it off once and for all. All right. I'll be using some whole red to this guy. I want to dilute a little bit this. Look at the vent. I don't know what I had this vent on the whole time. All right, this is much better. I can hear myself. All right. All right. So she is done finally. Let me zoom in a little bit. I can get a good shot here. There you go. Okay, the painting is pretty much done. It needs maybe a little bit more of a varnish on top, but we'll do this on a sunny day. Well, you guys, I hope you like the stream, and thanks for joining. And we'll be mounting all these guys in the coming streams. So we'll go over a lot of mounting and a lot of minis, as you can tell. And I have probably a few more trays of this after that. So I'm gonna do first probably the reps, and then we'll engage with the Asterians, and we'll keep the enforcers last because I might actually repaint them. All right, have a good night. Take care, and happy painting. Bye.